Yeah, here I am again in home in the studio working on all whatever you call that, editing video. Now, it's only the middle of the week here, it's on Tuesday night, and all of a sudden it's got, 45 minutes of video here. So I decided I'd just cut it off after today there, and most of this first half of the week doing this mechanical stuff, you get an awful lot of footage, and it takes fills up the video pretty quick. So I've worked on getting the last time I was doing getting the brakes in the front and all that kind of stuff, and then this time here I've worked on getting the back axles together, and then putting the new bearings in the hubs in the back, and then installing the axles into the vehicle, then putting the backing plate onto the brake backing plate onto that. So it's all set to, the next sort of task will be putting the back brakes together. So I figured I'd just cut it off here and let you guys enjoy this bit, and then for a bit of a bonus footage in the middle of it, Ian sent a comment and said that I should switch around the front brakes so that I get the bleeder to the top on the one side has a bleeder that's broken off, and so to get the bleeder that works to the top of the brake cylinder, I should just switch them around side to side, and that's a good idea, I think. So I did that. Anyhow, enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Yeah, so here I am, ready to start a new week, and back on the Volkswagen. Anyhow, here's what I think I'm going to do. No guarantees on what I do, because sometimes I think I'm going to do it and then I don't get to it. But in here, see, I made all that, I painted that all black in there. The whole motor compartment now is black, which is okay with me. It was that purple color for a while, which I didn't like very much. Anyhow, now, I do have the real trailing arms on. So what I think I'll do is I think I'll get the axles in and put the brakes together in the back here now. And then that'll finish all the brake lines. Then I can bleed them off if I want to. And that'll be a task complete, right? So that's maybe what I'll do. Yeah, so one thing I did was I bought new, what do you call those? Axles with the, like everything included in it, right? So, and it even comes with a packet of grease, right? So, but now I have to take this one, the old one. This one here, the CV boot is okay here. Well, mostly it's kind of cracked right there. But this end here was definitely needing replacing for the CV boot. I imagine that all the axle stuff is likely okay. So now I have to get a Allen key in here and see if I can get those things out of there. Yeah, these things here, to take these off on this one, are Torx. What size is that, I wonder? See if I can find a size on that. Can't read it anyhow. Torx 41. So you got to make sure, like, if you get that thing turned in there far, it'll turn them. But if you don't get the yuck cleaned out from the bottom, that Torx won't fit in far enough and it'll strip it. So make sure you clean out the yuck. Yeah, there you go. Get them all loosened out, and then it splits apart. Now, the bearings in there feel pretty good, but I've got new bearings for it, so I might as well just go and put new ones in. I'll get that all cleaned up and then start working on getting the bearings out of it. The book says, we'll figure it out. Press shaft out of wheel bearing housing. So you press the shaft out. Okay, well, I can do that, I think. We'll see. I'll clean it up first. Now underneath here there's these washer type things, so you got to get there, see that? It holds 2 at a time. Don't know what it's just the way it's done. And so I got to get these bolts out of here, number one, and then pull them off. Now, happily, the new kit comes with, the new Axel comes with new bolts, and their normal Allen key looks like number whatever. We'll find out as time goes on. In the richness of time, we will find out. I think it's, that one there is too big, so don't know what size it is. Anyway, I'll update you as I get along. Yeah, there now it looks like, where am I? Yeah, I've got the parts I need here. So there's axle seals, outer and inner axles on 2. And should just go. So now, a matter of getting this apart. Don't you know that's always so easy, eh? Yeah, so there was a little bolt through here that had about 5 nuts on it, but anyhow, I took it out. It seemed to be an adjustment tool for something to do with the brakes, I think. I don't remember when I took it apart, but I put it in the rust remover along with the big Jesus bolt that goes on here. Now I'll see if I can press this bearing out of here and see where we go from there. Yeah, so there I've got everything lined up straight, and this has got room to push there. See what happens. Oh, that's so far so easy. We'll see about getting the, that was, could have done that with a hammer, right? Anyhow, I'll just, the easy part's done, so now the next part is getting the races out of there and see what they have to do. Oh, where am I now? Here. So I cleaned this up, and it looks pretty decent. Cleaned off all the threads, cleaned the end, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so now, if I can get the bearings out of here, first off, I got to get the seals out. They should come. Wow, famous last words. They may come out fairly easily. Yeah, so now, those wheel, what do they call these things? Grease seals, right? The grease seals, they both pop out with my handy dandy tool here, this thing. This pry bar took quite a bit of pressure to get the back one out here. There's a circlip here. Now I wonder if I should take that out. It doesn't say to take that circlip out of there in the book. Remove inner race of outer wheel bearing. Drive outer wheel bearing out with a brass drift. Press in out inner wheel bearing. Because that circlip there is a stopper for the seal. I don't know. Likely it wouldn't hurt to take it out, then it's out of the way while I press out the rest of the stuff, right? Yeah, so I was reading the instructions and I followed the instructions as best I could, but things just weren't coming. So what I did was, wait a sec till I show you this. Some days. Okay, there. That's the back side now. There was a circlip here. So first there's a seal, then there was a circlip, and then the bearing. And so what I did, I couldn't get that front bearing to budge in any way. The outer bearing to budge. It says it's supposed to come out, and it says that sleeve here is supposed to be fit through there somehow. I don't know. I'll check it out on the new bearing and see if it fits. But so what I've done is I pulled this bearing out. I put the slide hammer on this side here, took the circlip out, put the slide hammer on it, pulled that bearing out. No problem. This one here, I'll just put I'll put something in from the back side and press that one out onto the with the press. I hope. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, there now, that's got that bearing popped out of there now, which is good. Thank you. Just had to have that size of a wrench, and that popped it out. So that's good. Now I'll just clean this up and I'll put new bearings into it, right? Yeah, so here's the instructions, and I did it all backwards, but I don't think that. So remove inner race of outer wheel bearing and spacer sleeve. Inner race of outer wheel bearing. So the outer wheel bearing is the one to this side here. Oops, where am I pointing? So I moved the inner race of that, but the spacer sleeve, which is this thing here, doesn't fit in between there, so you can't remove it until the back wheel bearing's out. Drive outer wheel bearing out with a brass drift. Didn't do that. Press out inner wheel bearing. So what I did with the inner wheel bearing is I put my, what do you call that? My drift hammer or slam hammer or whatever, wonder what that thing's called. Anyhow, whatever that's called. I put that, hooked that into it, and I was able to pull it out easily. Then I was able to take out the spacer shaft here. And then the next thing I did was put in pressed out the outer wheel bearing. So I did it sort of backwards of what they say here. I wonder if they've just got this backwards here. Anyway, I guess that's what'll happen. Outer wheel bearing, grease bearing and fill space between inner and outer bearings with multi-purpose grease. Press in until sealed. So you press in the outer bearing. So I think they had it confused. Inner wheel bearing, grease bearing, press bearing in until seated. Doesn't. So anyway, the way I'm going to do it, I'll grease the bearing and I'll put the new outer bearing in, press it in. Then from the back side, I'll put in the spacer and grease underneath that. It says to fill it up with grease in between there. And then I'll put the spacer in there. Where is it? So maybe I'll show you here. So what I'm going to do, this is the outer side here, right? So I'll put the outer wheel bearing in right here and get that set to go. I will not put on the inner race. The inner race just slides in afterwards. Then from the other side, I'll put in the spacer. So I'll turn it over then, right? This way. Then the spacer will go in there, and I'll fill that cavity up with grease before I put the spacer in. And then I'll press in the outer wheel bearing, which with this is the inner wheel bearing. I'll press that into place. Then I'll put the circlip on there, and then I can put the seals in. But first I'll see if I can clean this bit of a business up here a bit, where the seal sits. Yeah, so now when you press this, race the bearing into the front side or the outer side of it, there's nothing to stop the bearing. You can push it right through to, right to the back there if you went at it. So what you have to do is be careful to have something just slightly bigger than the bearing to press it in with, and it'll come up against that shoulder, and then they both stop right there. Yeah, that is in now, the right amount. And so now this part here, this is the second one I'll pack it full of grease. And I got that all packed full of grease in behind there. So now I'll pack this full of grease, this one here, and press it in. And it has a stopper, so you just have to get something about the same size as the outer rim here, which I better do before I get my hands all greasy, right? Yeah, so that bearing just sort of just slides in there, no trouble at all. Doesn't take much pressure to get it in at all, but it is held by the circlip, so I'll put that circlip in now, and then the seals get pressed in. Yeah, there, the circlip's in there now. You can see the clippy bits there, and it just drops right in there too. That's not too tough when it all comes to it. But the what am I trying to say here? Who knows what I'm trying to say? Now the seals go on, and I won't forget to put the inner bearing race on the other thing. Yeah, there you go. That's in there now. The this seal here, when you press it in, when you push it in, is actually just tapped it in with a hammer, or put that big thing there on it, and then tapped it in with the hammer, and it goes right up against that whatever you call that snap ring that's in there, and that stops it. So I filled the back of the seal with grease. Then I filled the in-between of the seal with grease. So grease everywhere. So here now, I've put in the inner race on on the inner race and the outer bearing, right? Lots of words. So now what happens there is it comes up against the spacer, which is right next to it there. And then that spacer comes up against the back bearing, so that when you put 300 foot-pounds of pressure on it, it's not putting side pressure on the bearings. It's just straight on the center of the bearings and the back of the wall there. Now, the seal goes in here, and then the axle goes. Now, to press this on, like it's all set to go, if I just push on this part out here, it's going to put side pressure on the bearings, and that'll ruin the bearings. So you got to get something that'll put pressure right on there. I just put a couple of old races here to get started with, but I'll need something to go over that, and then that'll push down on this bit, and the bottom will push up into it. So I need something with like a hollow something to go on that. I'll see what I can find. Yeah, there I found enough pieces of stuff. So I put this piece here over, and came up against that, and then this in there like that, and it pushed down with the axle coming through, right? Yay. So that worked, and then it seems to be that it turns, so that's a good sign. Now, the next step is this end here, this spline. So this has to go on, and then the great big gold nut goes at the end. But it's 5:30 already. I've working overtime. So I'll leave this one for tomorrow, and we'll see how I can make out with that. I put the nuts into the rust remover, and then I'll clean this off tomorrow and see how it makes out. Oh, back at it here. What day is it? Sunday. Hey, Sunday. Anyway, back to the task at hand here. I'll show you. So yesterday I got that assembled with new bearings in it. I got the new axle out. And now here's the hub. So I'll just clean up the hub and then put the hub back in, put the great big bolt at the end of it there, and see if I've got it right. So there should be on here. That bolt just goes right up against the hub. There doesn't show a washer in there or anything, so that's how it'll be. Yeah, that hub's all assembled now, and I think okay. I wonder if I forgot. Oh, I got to put the backing plate on there before I put that outer hub on, right? Oh dear me. So what I'll do is I'll just leave that together until I get the axle on. I'll get it mounted into the car, pull this off again, and then put the backing plate on. I knew I was forgetting something there. Okay, we'll get there. Yeah, so next I've got new axles for it. It comes with CV, bolts, and everything all attached, right? Now we've got to pack this with grease here. So I'm not really sure. I think I'll have to sort of pull it apart. Well, I want to get grease on the back side and on the front side. So I'll take, this is a tie wrap here that hold it in while you're moving, while transporting. So I'll just pull that off there and see what happens. See what happens next. Yeah, so now that the tie wrap is off of there, I can move this back and forth and get that thing packed pretty well, I think, without too much trouble. I don't want to take this part off because that's all factory sealed. Am I too close? This part's all factory sealed, so And I've got a gasket that goes on here that comes with the kit. And so I'll pack it in and see what I can do. It comes with 2 packs of grease, right? 1 pack, 2 packs. That's for 1 for each end. And this gasket to go on, 2 gaskets. And I've got these things here that go together, plus all these brand new bolts. Okay. Yeah, the whole thing of grease is in there, so should be okay. It'll eventually work its way around to wherever it has to be. Now, a matter of getting this thing attached to that thing there. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the vise straight up and down, and then just lay this on top of it and see if, because this gasket here just fits right into that spot. So you don't want it coming out. Yeah, so that's there, it's on. Now these things here, these bolts that hold it in here, they've got the Allen head, that's a number 6 Allen key, and excuse me, and it gets torqued down to, oh dear, I knew it about a second ago, 45 nanometers or 33 foot-pounds. 33 foot-pounds, so I'll get that done right now. Yeah, so there, I've got this 3/8 inch drive torque wrench also, and it has closer gradients and easier to handle. Don't need a big thing to get 33, it goes up to 50, so I'll get them torqued down to 33. Yeah, so I've got new bolts for it to go into the behind. Where is it? Right there. So this next is it goes in, but I think I'll see if I have a tap that'll fit that and clean them out. Yeah, there now, that's in there. I'll just get something and tie this up so it's sitting level sort of. And now I've got these get torqued down to like 101 foot-pounds. 101, 101, 101. It's something in nanometers, right? That one, those 4. This one gets like 300 foot-pounds, but I have to put the back plate on first. Before I tighten it down, I'm gonna make sure I have it the right way. I think that's the way it's supposed to be, with the 3 holes at the bottom and then 1 hole at the top. I'll check it out. Yeah, that's the way it is. The 2 holes at the top, 1 hole at the bottom. So I've got to take that hub off. I'll show you on the car. Yeah, 1 hole in the top, 3 holes in the bottom. I've got to take this hub off so I can get the backing plate on here. I have a new backing plate. And then, yes, indeed, I do have new emergency brake cables, or parking brake cables, so they'll go in here somewhere. I don't know where they go for sure. Yeah, so there, now these 2 bolts at the bottom, they get to be 47 foot-pounds, and the bolt behind that comes, you'll see it comes through right there, that gets to be like 15 foot-pounds in nanometers. Now, I think I'll put the hub on once again before I start putting the brakes all together. But it's a good thing that I saved. I didn't throw these things out. I was going to throw them out. I figured I better save them because the pieces that go in here are on there still. I have to get them off, and they're all covered with dirt and mud and rustification. So what I'll do is I'll get them off and I'll put them in the rust remover and then see about getting them in here. Then there's another pin or something that goes through here that's on those ones. Now I'll see if I can get that out and put it through. I don't know what it does, but we'll see. Yeah, there, now that's pretty well looked after for this side for now until I get these other pieces and I'll get the brakes on there. I'll get the other side done while these other things are soaking in rust remover. Now I just put looking at my hand there, I put a baggie over that end of it there and wired it up so it'll be out of the way, or it's just right in the right place for it to bang my head on. Anyway, that'll be a hazard for the next, until the motor gets in, which is going to be pretty soon. I'm going to, I don't know if there's enough light in here for you to see in here, but wait till I get my flashlight out here. I have a flashlight. It's not really a flashlight, it's called a telephone, but it does flashlight stuff. There. So there's a bit of light. I painted that up yesterday. It actually looks like it's pretty good in there. And now I'll put the, like when I get to it, after I get, soon, I'll put that insulation in there. I'm going to put a double layer of the insulation stuff on there. And that will be, and it's only for keeping noise out. And then you put that, there's a metal holder on it that goes, kind of a spring holder that holds it in there. Then I'll think about, after I get that in there, I'll think about getting the motor in. Because the rest of the stuff I can work around. Okay. Yeah, there I've got one side out. See that little thing there? And it took a bunch of heat. But it doesn't. I was hoping it would connect across in between there, but it doesn't. It's just drilled out to the one side there. So I'll put a bunch of heat to this side here. If you're using a torch and you want to know where the hottest spot is, it's right at the tip of the flame, tip of the blue flame there is the hottest spot for a torch. Right like that. Anyway, I'll keep on working at it, see if I can get the twist out of there. Yeah, there, I finally got it just to move a tiny bit, and then once it moves a tiny bit, then you can worry it until it gets out. So I'll go and clean, like I've cleaned off that one. It looks pretty nice, right? So I'll go and clean off this one here, so it looks pretty good. Then I'll think about this. There's a pin there. I just don't know what that pin does. Let's see if I can get that out of there. I don't know. That might be a job for the press. Yeah, so the diagram here shows that pin on the bottom. I think that's where it's supposed to be. Let me take a look here. Yeah, that pin on the bottom is supposed to come from that side to this side. And it's 10 millimeter size. Like I measured it, 10 millimeter stock, right? But maybe I'll just put a little bolt in there to hold it. If I can find a bolt about that size. Maybe grind down the top so it doesn't get in the way of stuff. And put it in there. Because it looks like, I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure out something. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. So I took a bolt and I ground off the head of it so it would fit in there. And then I flattened the head out so it was only 1/8 of an inch instead of the normal. And then I put it through and put a nut and a lock washer on this side and some what do you call that stuff? Loctite. So I don't think I need to do anything more there. I could cut the end off that, but I think that's fine. The way it is, that's 3 bolts holding it down there. And then these things here, which are the holders for the brake shoes, right? So I put a bunch of grease of that brake grease stuff, this stuff here. Synthetic brake lubricant. I put a bunch of that in those holes there, and that'll hopefully keep the water out of there, and that'll be good. Now, what should I do? Should I go after the other side, or should I finish off the brakes on this side? I think I'll go after the other side for a while, because the brakes on this side are going to be, I've got new brakes and springs and all that kind of stuff, but it'll be a learning experience to get that all together, and I'm not quite ready for a learning experience yet. I've already learned how to do the wheel hub, so I'll get after that and do the next wheel hub, the one for that side. Okay, I'll go find the pieces. Yeah, so here I am up against this one. I'll just take off this and put it in the rust remover. Actually, I just have to take it over and put it through the grinder. Anyhow, this thing here, which is on both sides, you see it's bolted through there. On the originals, this came right through the backing plate. on this one, on the new ones, that thing, and I didn't know what it was for. I'd forgotten what it was for. It's for hooking the springs on for when you put the springs on the brakes. So the new ones come with a clippy thing right in there, built into the backing plate, which is kind of nice. So I think that I don't have to worry about that little bolt, and then the little one, like I very carefully saved it from the other side. Where did I put it? Put it somewhere safe, you know. It's somewhere safe. Where did I put it? Somewhere safe, right down in here. And I said to myself, I'll figure out what that is eventually. So now I know what it is and I don't need it. Yay. Okay. Yeah, now that I know the order of things, it's like that back bearing, the what was in here. There was a seal, snap ring, and the bearing, and they all come out in 5 minutes instead of a couple of hours like the last time. And the axle, it came out really quick and easy, so things are going along pretty fast on this side. Yeah, so this front, the outer bearing had some damage to it, along with the, what do you call that thing? This thing here. This thing here, something had pushed on that and then made a bulge in this, so I just took the bulge out. And I think it's okay to carry on using that. That part there sits up against the inner bearing, and it should run just fine. Anyhow, that thing there, that being said, it must have been something when they were tightening the torque up. There's the inner race of the bearing is not there. I don't know where it is. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, so it would appear that whoever did this last forgot to put in the inner race for the outer bearing. Oh dear. And then a couple of the things came loose and it caused some damage on here, which I've grinded off on this side here, and I think that the seat is okay for that. I might just put that damaged part towards the back because it doesn't. Yeah, so this part here has got to come up against that the inner race of the bearing. Huh. Isn't that something? That somebody would forget that. Oh well. I guess, you know, even the best. Like, I make lots of mistakes, so I wonder if I've forgotten to put anything in. I did. I found a set of camshaft bearings in my box over there, so I guess I'd either forgot to put them in or else ordered them twice. I hope it's ordered them twice. Anyhow, there we go. That's all for now. Yeah, I don't see any damage on the inside of that hub, and I don't see any damage on this axle. So whatever, I bet you they put those bearings in and then they hardly ever drove in it. But it must have been whacking around in there. Who knows? Maybe because this thing here, the spacer. Wonder where that spacer is now. I've lost the spacer. Oh well. I spaced the spacer, right? So this spacer, it sits down on there in between the two bearing races. This will ride up against the back of the front bearing, and this one rides up against the front of the back bearing. But this won't ride inside the front bearing. Like, it doesn't, it's too big for that. Huh. Oh dear, I don't know. Oh well, what the... Que sera, sera, eh? Anyhow, I'll just carry on. Yeah, that's enough for today. Anyhow, it's quitting time, and I'll head back in and come out tomorrow and give it another go. See how things work out tomorrow. Anyhow, bye for now. Yeah, so here's a suggestion from one of the viewers, Ian. He sent a message along in the comments. Said, how about switching this caliper to the other side, and that'll put the bleeder to the top, and it'll also put this inlet to the bottom, so that'll push all the fluid upward. Now the only thing it is one side has got the shouldered bolt. I don't know that it makes any difference. I think that's just for keeping them straight. So I'll give that a go. And I think I'll put this other thing on hold till tomorrow because the power was out for most of the day today, so nothing happened here, and it's already, past 4:30, so I'll maybe put an hour into getting those things sorted out and then see how that looks. Yeah, that's switched over to the other side, and now I just have to make a pipe that goes from here, but it has to go underneath to here at the bottom instead of just a little loop, so it's a bigger loop down to there. Let's see what I can come up with. Yeah, there's a new snake of a pipe. Got a couple of little bends in it here and there, but I've got it coming. This is routing it from the bottom right here, where my finger is. Can you see that? Yeah. Over the top of the caliper, so it stays away from everything bolt-wise, and away from this, and into there. Into here. Okay. I'll make another one just like it for the other side. Yeah, there it is. Now, I've got a bleeder on top, the one with the broken bleeders on the bottom down here, and the pipe. Wait a minute, I'll just let me swing this around. So I can see what's going on here. Yeah, see the pipe comes down here to the bottom, right? Hooks in the bottom, and then comes up over and has to do a turn back and into the top here. That will be okay, I think. Focusing failed. Well, anyway, that's all I'm doing for the day anyhow. So, I got started really late today because there was a power outage here for a couple hours. I was just ready to come out to the shop, and all of a sudden, the power went off. So, ran the generator for a little while, then the power came on, I shut it off the generator, and the power went off again. So, anyway, there you go. The generator doesn't power up in here. It only powers the house up. I have to run an extension cord to get to here. Anyway, there you go. I'll see you tomorrow, perhaps. Yeah, here I am back at it. Yesterday was a bit of a blowout. Had a little bit of a storm overnight, and then the power went out for a few hours in the afternoon, so not much happened here, except for Ian sent along a suggestion that I should change this around to the other way around so that the bleeder comes out on top. The one, like on this side, there's two bleeders. On the other side, wait, I'll show you. On the other side over here, there's only one bleeder. It came out on, and it's out on top. This one here it's in there, but it's jammed in there and it was twisted off, so I couldn't get it. It won't come out, or I could try and drill it out, but one bleeder is all they really need. So I put them on, switch sides to sides. So the shouldered bolt for holding it will be in the bottom here. I don't know if you can look in the right place there. And then the unshouldered bolt is at the top here. And then I made this so it goes around and comes in like there. So anyhow, there you go, Ian. We'll see what happens down the road here. I imagine it'll stop really well in reverse anyhow. So now back to this task. I've got the what do you call those things? The bearings all out, and the seats are all out of this. So now I'll just clean this up, get that bolt there out of it, because I don't need that anymore, because it's the for hooking the brake springs on, and the new back plate comes with a hooky thing. So there we go. Okay, I'll get at it. Yeah, that's all cleaned up and ready to go. This seating for the what do you call that? The seal in there, a little bit gungy, but I went over it with some emery cloth and got it cleaned up as best I could there. And then this side here is good. Okay, I'll start putting the bearings in, or the bearing seats. Yeah, there, that bearing, I have a socket that's just slightly bigger than the bearing, and so that stops at the shoulder there, and doesn't go past the shoulder, and that's where it has to stop at. So that bearing's in. Now I didn't pack this bearing yet because it's an open bearing. The inner race goes on later. The previous guys had forgotten to put the inner race on, as far as I can tell, before. And now I have to make sure I get the, well, first I'll pack it, that bearing. Then the next thing I'll do is fill this cavity with some grease. And then I'll put in the spacer, which I have cleaned up. And like there's the inner race there, eh? And this spacer here, it had a bump in it here. So I cleaned that up, so I'll make this so it goes that side to the front. Yeah, both sides have a bevel on them, so they're good. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, there now I've put the inner race in. It's in right there. Don't know what happened to the other one, what happened to it before, but anyhow, it wasn't there. Now I'm just going to tap this seal in. It'll you can sort of push it in by hand, but it'll go up against, there's a shoulder back there that you have to push it up, get it up against. Yeah, there, that one's in. Now you see this, this seal's exactly the same. It goes on the back. So I pack grease into the cavity on the back of the seal, plus into the, there's a little sort of a V thing here that makes the seal. So I pack grease in there also. And then that should be pretty good. So next is, I got to turn it over and put this snap ring on, and then that seal goes in. Yeah, there are the snap rings in there. You can see the end of it there and there. And then if you little squeeze on it and then see if it'll turn around, it's seated properly. So now, the next seal goes up against that snap ring. So I'll pack up that seal, which is not packed yet. I'll pack it up and then I'll put it in there. So you wonder, how much grease does it take to change the wheel bearings on a Volkswagen van? Well, just about a whole bucket full of it, eh? It's amazing how much grease can fit into those bits. So now the next thing is get this axle on. I think I still have to do some cleaning on that. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of cleaning on that and then I'll get that on. Yeah, there, that's cleaned up. And I'm going to take a little tiny bit of emery cloth to that, where the bearing seat goes there, where the inner race sits on that one, just to clean it off a little bit more. And then I have to run this through the wire wheel. So there, now that's pressed in. So you have to be careful that you're pressing on the inside race, inner race, and not on the outer race, because that'll put side pressure on the bearing. That's not acceptable. So I had a couple of little these bearings here from, don't know what they're from. They're from the TR7, front wheel of the TR7. And did I see that? Yeah, these ones. So I had two of them, and I just stacked them one on top of the other, and they'd fit down in there and put pressure on the inner bearing race, and then this thing here was pushing against the inner bearing race. So there, that's in anyhow. Okay, now next is putting on the axle, eh? Okay. Yeah, and then the axles, they come with their own grease, which is here, and each axle gets 2 of these. So that's that tub full plus 4 of these baggies full. That's a lot of grease. Yeah, so there's the new axle. Now I just cut that baggie off there and left that tied around there. Baggie's got a hole in it. So I left that tied around there to keep the dust out. That's not doing much good. Maybe I'll get the other end. Anyway, take off this tie wrap, right? This thing here moves up and down, and then pack this with the grease. It says in the little instructions on the baggie, it says make sure that you take the applied grease and apply it to the pancake joint. So they call this a pancake joint. That's interesting. Anyway, so before I do all that, I'll clean up these things. 1, 2, I need 3 of them per axle, so I'll clean 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh-oh, I'm missing a bolt. How would that be, missing a bolt? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Isn't that something? Missing 1 bolt. Oh well, I'll figure that out. Yeah, there I found it. It was just over here. Don't know why. It must have walked over there by itself, but things do that around here. Yeah, so I put this on till I got the these things here tightened down to 33 foot-pounds on each one of those. And that's that one done. So now I think I'm set to put this into the car, and I'll get a piece of wire over there ready to wire it up. So if you can't leave it hanging off of that because it's not good for it. Yeah, there, that axle's in there, and then I've got it just wired up on this side here to hold it kind of level, eh? Now, these bolts here need to be torqued down to 101 foot-pounds. So this machine here goes to 100, so I think that'll work. Yeah, so they're torqued up. Now I have to take this off. I have to put a pry bar or something in here and then loosen that bolt off of it so that I can get to put the backing plate on. This bolt here just gets tightened up when I was tightening on the other things, because this is what was holding the, when I was tightening on the, well, they're inside now, but all those things in there, the axle things, right? Anyway, so now I'll get my thing and get that off of there. Yeah, those bolts here, I also, all these 4 big bolts here, I put a little bit of Loctite on them. Same on the other side, a bit of Loctite to make sure that they don't fall out, right? Yeah, so you see this, here I am, where am I? Can you see that? That's the back plate for the brakes, right? And this part right here, it's got a clippy thing there to hook your brake springs into. Makes it a little bit easier. I don't know what that there does, that there. Anyhow, but now this new wheel cylinder goes on up there, and I have the bolts right here for it, and then 2 bolts hold down here. Then I'll have to free up these pieces that go in there. So I'll get this wheel cylinder in, and I'll get the 2 bolts down there, but I'm done. Yeah, so I couldn't get this plate to fit on there because there was a rust from the old plate. There was a rust buildup along the edge of this thing here. So I just took my grinding wheel and cleaned it off all around there, and then it seems to go on correctly now. And it wasn't seating right. It wasn't sitting flat. So now it is. So I'm happy there, and I'll get it stuck together. So these 2 bolts at the bottom here, they get 47 foot-pounds. Then I'll make a thing to go through there like I did on the other side. There's supposed to be a little, like a thing to go through there, but it didn't come out of the back plate. Wait a minute. Now this part here, for the 15th time, this can go on, and I think it doesn't have to come off again for a while, and this can go on, but I won't tighten this all down until I get the brakes all done. Now from there, see? Now from, I have to get the little things that go in there from this thing here. I think it's on here. Yeah, right there and right there. And see, there's a little drift that goes through there, but it doesn't, didn't come on the new ones. So anyhow, I'll get this off here tomorrow, and carry on and finish this, and then maybe tomorrow I'll also get all the, well, I'll get the brake lines done tomorrow, number one. Then I'll see about putting the brakes together. And I do have the emergency brake cables, so they'll go in, number two. And there's a spot for it right there. Okay, that's all for today. And I'll perhaps see you again tomorrow. See ya, bye. Yeah, now, after all those grim days that have gone by this winter, it's nice to, well, here's proof that the sun does shine here occasionally. And Buster even likes it. He's been pretty frisky down here. There's the animal tracks. I don't know what that looks like. A fox. Fox or a coyote or something going in there. There is raccoons down here too. They come down to the beach and I think they go clamming or look for anything that's edible. It's an icy day today. I don't think I'd be walking on that ice yet though. At least this stuff here is frozen up underfoot. Or mostly. Yeah, walkable underfoot there. And the beach looks nice when it's nice and sunny and you get the sun beating down on the ocean over there. Yeah, so nice day. There you go. Proof that it does get to be nice here some days. January 21st or 22nd, something Sunday it is. Anyhow.